Have you been trying to decide which broker is better for you, whether it's Vanguard or Fidelity? Well, worry no more. This video is going to help you make that decision. Let's jump right into it.
I think the first thing we should talk about is the differences between who they're actually trying to attract, their customers, who they're really going after in terms of investing. Now, the type of customer that I believe Fidelity really caters to is a wide range of investors. We're talking about seasoned investors, new investors, traders, and also investors, long-term investors, and people that might have from anywhere to maybe $100 to invest all the way up to millions of dollars of investing, money for investing. Now, when it comes to Vanguard, I think their client is more focused on long-term buy and hold, and those that are really looking into investing a lot of money for a long period of time. Do you agree with that, Nadia?
I would agree with that. I would think that Vanguard doesn't really cater to trading back and forth. They're looking at people who want more mutual funds and ETFs and sticking with the same broker and looking to hold it there. But I will say, Fidelity does look to a lot of retirement individuals who are interested in retirement because most likely, or I'm not going to say most likely, a lot of employers hold your 401ks at Fidelity. Fidelity is the custodian for a lot of accounts. So I wouldn't really knock Fidelity out of the park when it comes to retirees, too. But I will say that Vanguard is less likely focused on retail investors, more likely on people with long term investment goals and more money to invest.
Now, what about platforms, Nadia? What can you say the difference is in terms of platforms? Because that's another thing you really should be considering if you're choosing between these two companies.
Yeah, I would say if looking at platforms, my answer would have been a lot different a couple of years ago. But it seems like Fidelity and Vanguard have been taking their clients' suggestions in mind and they have updated their platforms. Now, I have a Vanguard account and I've had it for years. And Vanguard used to be so hard to navigate, especially when you're a do it yourself investor, right? It used to be so hard just to do the basic things. It was the user interface was very confusing. Now, it's a lot easier to go in there and do what you want. You can just go to fidelity.com and vanguard.com and see the difference. If you go to Fidelity right now, they have a lot of tax information, a lot of wording on the page, and things you can choose from. If you go to Vanguard, they simplified it. You can go right into, okay, choose what kind of investor you are, hit personal investor, and then they give you the type of products that are available for you depending on your goal, what you want to do. It's a lot easier to navigate their platform, especially if you're new to investing on your own. Then, when you go to open an account and you start trading on your own, that is even easier too. So, I would say before, hands down, would have said Fidelity was an easier platform to use. But now, Vanguard, I think, has the edge when it comes to that because they made it a lot easier for you to navigate the platform on your own instead of having to call up their customer service or deal with a financial advisor to walk you through what you actually want to do.
I think I'm going to disagree with you, Nadia. Okay. So, guys, to let you know, when we were researching this video, I have a Fidelity account. Nadia has a Vanguard account. We were looking at both of these platforms to see exactly how we felt about it. And I think Nadia is giving Vanguard the edge because she was so disappointed in the past that now that they actually got up to speed to Fidelity, she's so impressed that she gives it to Vanguard.
Okay,
I don't think
that can
so.
be fair.
They have some nice little, graphic drawings and stuff, little fake people on the screen. But in terms of being busy, they still are, they're just as busy as Fidelity. Um, Ease of navigation, I guess if you were coming from the Stone Age with their what their website used to look like to now, yeah, it looks better. But I think they're just now catching up to where Fidelity is. Now, you've heard me say this if you haven't in previous videos. Fidelity's website is pretty busy for me. I would love for them to simplify it even more, but they offer so many things. I guess you know what? It's hard to put all the things that they offer, all the tools that they give you, into something that's that simple for you to use. Okay, so I can't fault them if they have so much to offer. Maybe that's the easiest that they can make their website. But if I'm looking at both websites, I still give the edge to Fidelity.
Given the navigation of the websites is probably a personal preference, I will say finding the investment choices that are made for your type or your goal of investing, I think it's a lot easier to find on Vanguard. Now, why do I say that? It's because when you go into their platform, they start narrowing you down into different buckets. They say, okay, what's your goal? Is your goal to start planning for retirement? Is your goal to start saving for an emergency fund, paying down debt, different things like that? Once you choose whichever one describes you the most, then it brings you to another page that tells you here are the different types of investment vehicles you can start investing in on this platform. And they keep narrowing down, narrowing down. It's a lot easier. You don't have to go all over the website. You can say, look, I want to start looking at ETFs and mutual funds. You can click on the button right there. You say, I want to look at stocks. Click a button right there. You can say, all right, I want to look at maybe opening up a joint account with my spouse. You can open it right there. It's a lot easier now to pick what tool or what investment vehicle is best for you based on the limited choices they have on one particular page. That's the reason I like Vanguard right now, because I'm looking at it from a beginner investor's perspective. And that to me, if you can make it easier for me to find what it is I should be investing in and then help me make a decision from there based on whatever research tools you have there or whatever articles you have, I think that is good when you're starting to invest on your own.
I mean, at this point, I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree. So, when it comes to platforms, guys, if you're choosing between the two, look at both, see which one you like more. But really, I think it's pretty even when it comes to the platforms now. And that's actually a plus for Vanguard because, like we said, in the past, it wasn't very convenient, wasn't easy to use, but they have definitely stepped up the user interface and they're getting to where Fidelity is. So, with that, it's a toss up for us. Okay.
Well, Nicole, let's jump into. I mentioned that the investment vehicles or the investment options you have. Let's talk about the differences there between the two platforms.
Okay, so instead of investment options, because that might be a little confusing, I like to say investment choices, exactly what you can invest in. Now, both of them have a wide range of investments that you can actually purchase. So that's not a problem with either one. But in terms of investment choices, I like Fidelity because they allow you to do dollar based investing, or another way to say it is fractional share investing, meaning you can use a dollar amount to actually buy a certain amount of company stock or ETF that you would like to purchase. You don't have to purchase a full share of a company if you're trying to buy it if the stock price is so high. You can buy like $10 worth of, say, Costco rather than paying a full share price, which is around, I want to say like $900. So that is a very good thing that they have on Fidelity. On top of that, Fidelity has things called zero funds, right? These are funds that have zero fees, zero expense ratios, just everything zero, transaction fees and things like that. That is something you can get into for just $1, but they're only unique to Fidelity. They don't have that type of thing in Vanguard. When it comes to Vanguard, what do you think, Nadia? What about the investment choices they have?
I think Vanguard has a lot of investment choices, but if you're looking at it from starting to invest and you want to just dip your feet in the water, dip your toes in the water, when it comes to fractional share investing, you don't have as much choice on Vanguard as you would have on Fidelity, right? Vanguard only allows you to do fractional share investing with their own ETFs. Okay. So if you want to do fractional share investing, you can only do it with Vanguard's ETFs. Now you'll see on their page that you can do fractional share investing with their mutual funds too, but that's only after you hit the minimum required investment. So if you're looking to just start investing with $1, the only choices that you have to do that on Vanguard is through their ETFs. With Fidelity, you could do it in like I think 7,000 different stocks. You can do it with their funds. You can do it with multiple ETFs. So you get a lot more choices when it comes to those investment choices if you're looking to start investing with a small amount of money.
Now, when we're saying the minimum invested, a lot of the Vanguard mutual funds have like a 3,000 minimum investment. So, in order for you to start investing into that mutual fund or index fund, you need at least $3,000. That is not a case when it comes to Fidelity, right? And then I know that we're using some terms like fractional shares, ETFs, stocks. If those terms are unfamiliar to you or to sound a little confusing, this is where I would like to invite you to join our weekly newsletter that we call the Wealth Pack, where we go more into depth in terms of like topics, in terms of terms that might be confusing. And we break them down into easy to understand bits so that you can get it really quickly in your inbox and you can understand and have a better understanding when it comes to financial literacy and also investing. So if you're interested in something like that, please check the link below in the description. It's called the Wealth Pack. That is our private newsletter that we have off site.
And again, it's free to join. Okay. So increase your education that way. Um, I would also say one thing, if you're looking at investing in Fidelity Zero funds, understand if you go to close that account, you cannot move those funds over to a different broker, right? They're not portable. Now, when it comes to Vanguard's mutual funds and their ETFs, you can move those over to a different broker if you choose to close out your Vanguard account. You're not forced to sell most of the time those types of securities to go over to another broker. Fidelity, because those zero funds don't exist anywhere else, you're going to be forced to sell those.
Yeah, it's because Fidelity is using that as a way to attract people to go into their company. So it's a loss leader. They really don't make money on those accounts, but it gets you into the door, and then they can offer you more investment options. So that's something to understand why those funds are not portable, but they're still really great funds. Okay, so let's just say that. So a lot of customers that actually go into Fidelity, they actually tend not to leave. And that's because of other factors that we'll get into later on in the video. So if you're worried about portability, which is called not being able to transfer the funds, some people think it's a non-issue, but you should be aware of that when it comes to these zero funds at Fidelity. Now, another thing, if we're comparing investment choices, I think we should talk about the cash accounts that are available for both Vanguard and Fidelity. Now, maybe at one point you might not know what you're going to invest in, right? But you have to put money into the account before you actually make an investment. So, what happens to that money that's sitting uninvested in your account? Well, with Fidelity, you have the choice, and also Vanguard, you have the choice of either doing money market accounts or you could do a sweep account. Both are cash accounts. Now, what's interesting about Fidelity is that their money market account has no minimum, and they also give you a debit card. And that money market account is paying around 4% in terms of interest, which is great. The cash account in terms of sweep is paying a little bit less, but also does not have a minimum. When it comes to Vanguard, their money market account does have a minimum investment of $3,000, and it does not come with a debit card, so it's not easy for you to get your money in and out. You have to use a third party app like maybe PayPal or Venmo it can connect to. So that's something where I'm going to give the edge to Fidelity when it comes to their cash accounts.
Yeah, I would say that. Vanguard also has something called a cash, what is it? A cash plus account.
Yeah, it's their sweep account.
That's their cash management account. It's paying around 3%. It's very easy to use. You don't have to, it has no minimum, it has zero fees, but you do not get a debit card with it, and you do not have check writing ability with it either. So if you're looking at
Mhm.
that, I would give the edge to Fidelity because you have more options to do something with your cash so that it's just not sitting in your account. It's also making interest for you, waiting for you to invest that cash. So I would give
Mhm.
the edge there.
So it's kind of like it's a good place for you to put your emergency funds. It's kind of like an alternative, if you will, to a bank account.
Or high yield
Yeah,
savings account.
a high yield savings account. So it's kind of like a way to not only save but spend and also invest your money. That's the way that Fidelity puts in. I think that's a good way to see it because also with that debit card, it doesn't come with any fees. Okay, so you can go to any ATM you want and they reimburse you for those fees. So I do like that little feature, and you can pay your bills. You can use their you can accept checks because they have an app that goes with it. So if you're looking for a place that maybe is comparable to a bank account, but also gives you a flexibility that you can quickly invest it, I think Fidelity wins out on that.
All right, so let's jump into tools that are available for investors when they're going onto these platforms. If you're looking at tools, they have tools for saving, or like let's say planning tools. Let's say tools for your retirement planning, tools for planning to save for a big purchase, tools for planning down paying down debt. I think both of them have it, but I was playing around with Vanguard's retirement tool, and I will let you know it is pretty easy to use. And it's like, the reason why I say it's easy to use is because they have you plug in your numbers in a sentence format. So they'll say, okay, I am this many years old. I make this much a year. I want to retire by this age and I want to live off of this amount of money. And they'll have you put in a dollar amount of what your current income is, or they'll have you put in a percentage. And they'll say, how much do I, and they'll ask you how much you have invested already. And they'll give you an idea of what your retirement income would be on in the future when you plan to retire. I thought that was super simple to use because of that sentence format. Now, I know Fidelity has the same thing, but comparing the two retirement income calculators, I think Vanguard has the edge on that because they made it a lot more user friendly than just making a bunch of numbers to plug in. It actually makes it a little more real when you put it into that sentence format.
I mean, the sentence format, great, but yes, Fidelity has the same features, and I actually like it that I didn't have to write in a sentence format. I just put in straight numbers. They had the sentences themselves. The question was asked in a way where I just had to get the information,
Okay.
and I was still able to get all the details that you would have gotten on Vanguard. So again, that right there is a preference depending on what you like, right? So it's still a toss up with both of those. I don't think there's a clear winner with either one on that either. Okay. Now, let's get to one that definitely not only beginners, but anybody that's dealing with a company should really care about, and that's customer service, right? Both have live customer service, but I would say Fidelity basically has award-winning customer service. You can look online. A lot of people say they really enjoy Fidelity's customer service. I've called them a few times. I've never had a problem with them. The person's always friendly on the line. And I've actually gotten great notification where I didn't realize something was going on with my account, and they've actually notified me of it. So I think being proactive and actually having live customer service that's actually helpful. I like Fidelity.
I will say I don't have Fidelity, but I haven't been happy with the customer service at Vanguard. I've only called it like maybe 2 or 3 times, but one time I got a really rude person. Second time I got a very helpful person. There's something going on with my account right now, and I have no notification about it. I'm like, what are these random fees? So I would say I would give the customer service based on Nicole's like review of it to Fidelity, right? Now, I think they probably improved it, but I do know that there's a tiered customer service at Vanguard, right? Depending on how
Mm-hmm.
much money you have invested. So you'll get maybe a personal financial advisor that will talk to you, or you get like a robo advisor, or maybe you'll get someone that will just handle your account generally, but it's tiered and based on the amount you have invested. Like I said, I haven't used it in a while, their customer service, but when I did do it, it wasn't the most pleasant experience. Okay. Hopefully they improve that. Maybe I'll call them up later to just try to find out some more information about my account. But I think Nicole has used Fidelity longer and had better experience. So I'll give the toss up to Fidelity there.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've been doing this for over 20 years now, and I haven't had a problem with Fidelity, but I have remembered the conversations that Nadia and I have had with about Vanguard's customer service. Okay. So if that is any indication, hopefully they do improve their customer service, but as of now in current situation, I think Fidelity does get the edge with that.
And
So
wait,
with
wait.
that,
And you guys, if you had a different experience with Vanguard, let us know. Okay. Put that in the comments below. Let us know if they've improved it and you have had a more favorable experience, and maybe I'm just being jaded. Okay.
and also let us know if you didn't have a great experience with Fidelity, okay? Because I would like to know as well, like what it was about and like what made it such an awful experience or a less than superior experience. So both, let's just also let it be known we don't get paid by
We don't
either
get paid by
company.
either.
So
Yep.
these are so this is just our opinions as customers of these brokerage companies and giving you our thoughts and I believe based on our experience with both.
Exactly. Anyone can get it. So if you have something you want to say about any one of those, put it in the comments. Help us make our decisions too. Okay.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think, I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. Both Vanguard and Fidelity are very good companies, reputable, live customer service, and lots of investment choices to choose from, and lots of quality, low cost investments to choose from. So, with that, it's really going to be a personal preference along with what are you actually investing for? Are you a long term buy and hold investor that has a little bit more money that you want to put in at a chunk of time? Or are you an average investor who has different things that maybe now you have some priorities, but maybe later, or you want an institution that can do both for you, maybe some trading along with long term investing, then maybe you're a Fidelity person. All right.
But remember, we have other videos on this platform that will give you more information about either one of those, our previous experience, and our opinions on other brokers too. So make sure you check those out before making the decision to go with either one of these, or you might have a third or fourth one that we could review also to help you make that decision easier.